Hello, and welcome to Scaling an Electrical Company. I forgot our name for a moment there.
That's excusable. You've had a long day.
It's been a long Monday. My name is Jessie. I am the owner, CEO, and networking queen at Supersun Electric. Now you have me.
I'm the master electrician.
Your
microphone's good. The green light's on. I just checked.
Gabe's a master electrician.
And this.
We just got these new shirts printed and they look so amazing. And before you say, wow, look, it's Gabe on the shirt and it's Gabe's face, we did not.
That's AI generated. I'm just sexy.
We put the values we wanted our hero to represent into our AI chatbot and said, generate a superhero for me. And it just so happens to look like Gabe, which I just think is pretty dang funny.
So, according to AI, I'm a superhero. Or at least sexy enough to be one.
Yeah. Today we are talking about the sacrifices you have to make as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, really just the trade-offs that exist, right? You can have anything you want, you just can't have everything.
Yeah.
So
I'm
get started with that. And speaking of sacrifices, I'm gonna go make sure our kids fall asleep.
So something we've been experiencing lately has been we've got all these big lofty goals for the business. We want to transform the electrical trade. We want to change the world. We want to build better electricians. We want to transform the perception that the industry has when it comes to electricians, that hiring an electrician is respected. And we had to take a seat back and have this realization that to hit all these lofty goals that we want, there are sacrifices that need to be made. Yeah. So when we were starting the business, we didn't have social time.
Yeah, well, there were sacrifices that we already made. I don't know where you're at.
When we started the business, the sacrifices
that we made.
Yeah,
I mean, we disconnected from everybody. Like, we didn't really see our family outside of, like, here's my child, please watch them while I go fucking knock out a 16-hour day.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was a lot of it. And I know we've talked about it before, but, like, driving up to meet my parents in Temple so that we could give them Leo for the weekend so that we could go do work on Friday night after we'd already worked a shit ton.
Yeah.
And then have to meet them again on Sunday afternoon after jobs so that we could be ready for work on Monday.
I remember our friends would say, oh, you got boring.
Yeah.
You guys don't hang out with us anymore. You got old and boring.
We haven't seen you in forever.
I remember a friend of mine called one day almost in tears and was like, why do you hate me? And I was like, I don't hate you, Madison.
Oh.
That's right. I don't hate you. I'm just busy, dude.
Some shit, dude. Like, we don't have time. I mean, I barely saw the kids. At the time, we only had one, but still, like, I barely saw Leo for most of that season, and it sucked. But I would much rather have given up the time from 2 to 3, where, like, realistically everything he says is nonsense, and there's not any big moments. Right, like, anybody who says that it's a magical time for you, sort of, but 90% of it's gonna be annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that magical. There's spurts of magical that keep you from murdering them.
Yeah, that's parenting in a nutshell.
Yeah, so don't let them, like, parenting lesson. And if you're thinking about having kids, it is well worth it. The magical moments are fucking sick. There are very, very few of them. It's not like in the movies where it's all cute and cuddly. 90% of the time, they're a shithead who is crying over the dumbest shit.
But then they make up for it by looking up at you and going, I love you, and kissing you on the cheek.
Like, really cool. I think that it's just like a survival instinct when they push the button so far that they see the murder in your eyes and like, but what if I just retract that a little bit?
But yeah, they
were completely different.
Where I was getting at is there were a lot of sacrifices we made at the front end of the business, and your back. He had a herniated disc in his back.
I worked on it for 6 months too because I'm a dumbass.
Yeah. Where I was getting at is we've had a realization recently that the big things we want to build are not going to happen
At the speed that we want.
at the speed that we want. And we have our son who is 3 and our daughter who is 6 months old, and we could sacrifice a relationship with those kids to build bigger, better things
Faster. And
faster.
cooler things and all of that. And
But
like, that absolutely could exist, right? Like anything's on the table. And the bigger the thing you want to build or make or whatever, the bigger the sacrifice has to be, right? Like that's how it works. And we're not saying that you have to sacrifice family, but I think it was Cody Sanchez who talked about like the 4 burners.
speaking of our kids,
Tuck you in? Do you want mom to tuck you in? I should tuck you in?
Dad should tuck him in.
I will talk about the 4 burners momentarily. I don't know if you know it. But
I definitely don't know this story, so I definitely cannot take over for you. No, we just realized that we're not willing to sacrifice the relationship we have with our children and the relationship that we have with each other. And so inherently that means it's going to take a lot longer and a lot more effort to build what we want to build in the business, because we cannot have a singular focus. We will always be thinking and having to consider the kids. And for instance, the last 4 freaking seconds is we can't record a goddamn podcast because our son interrupts us. So
you can record it. It's not the same uninterrupted quality.
right.
But that beautiful representation of what she's talking about is it's going to be more effort to build the business and to do what we want because we perpetually have the distraction, right? And you only have so much attention, which I'll go into this one and then I'll cycle back to Cody Sanchez. But you only have so much attention, and so like the biggest, best people gather all of their marbles back into their bowl for attention.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, that one fight that I had with that one person, or that unresolved conflict here, or the thought that I had over here, and blah blah blah, and like you have all of these things, and most people can't accomplish shit because they have all of these attention pools that have 1 or 2 in them, and well, it's all scattered, and you can't resolve that situation unless you bring it all back. Which there's a sacrifice in that because bringing that attention back from that person could completely kill the relationship, or it could like there's so many things that could happen. But there's also so many great things that could happen too. And I think that as humans, we're trained to look at the negative.
Yeah.
Because we're trained for survival of like what could happen. Oh my God, they could cut us off. They could like. There's all of these like self doubts. I'm actually reading it in James Vincent's Infinite Edge of like you have to shut the doubt down and cycle up the like what happens if it goes right? What happens if I'm awesome? What happens like the positive intention because we're programmed for the negative. But going back to Cody Sanchez's, and I don't think she came up with it, but that's where I heard it from. So whatever. It's 4 burners of like.
Oh yeah, I do know this analogy.
So you only have 4 burners like an oven, and if you want to be average, you're gonna have all 4 burners. It's health, like wealth, family, and like leisure. I think I may not have the verbiage right, but that's the idea, right? And then if you want to be somewhat successful, you have to shut one of those off, right? So you can kill health, and then you probably will have wealth and leisure and family, or you can cut whatever, pick one. But if you want to be hyper successful, you're cutting 2, right? You're cutting 50% of the things that people think are required out of your life, right? And think is required because realistically, life's a choice, and the rules are made up, and it doesn't fucking matter. And so most people, from what I've seen, usually end up sacrificing like health, which only works for so long, or they sacrifice like family, or they sacrifice leisure, right? And like when they're building a business in any regard, they sacrifice all of those to get wealth, which is fine. And like
there's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer. And
life is a game. How do you want to play?
Like when we started, I sacrificed health and leisure and arguably family.
You keep bouncing on this, and it's making it is bugging the heck out of me.
Cool. But like, I sacrificed the 3 out of the 4 because we needed to make it happen. Which I'm realizing more like that's not the answer. Sacrificing your health is never going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Which is, I know sounds really fucking stupid that that's a lesson that I should learn, but it is a lesson that I've been learning and have been intentionally correcting of like, it's not worth the sacrifice of your health because if that's lacking, everything else suffers. Yeah. You make less money. You hurt all the time. You're more of a crotchety asshole. Like everything is worse. And so, like, not sacrificing your health is the better way to do it. Like, you can sacrifice a vacation. You do not need the vacation if you build a life that you love.
But you do need to drink water and
I think that's
probably
a myth, personally
eat something green every once in a while.
I think that that's bullshit. I don't eat green things that often.
Move your body.
I do that a lot, like pretty much all day. So that one I support. But I don't think that it's that important to eat green things. I think scientists are just lying to you on that. Okay. Like a third of my diet sugar, and AI thinks I'm a superhero. So AI hasn't generated superheroes of people who eat salads. Just putting it out there.
That boy is up from bed again.
No, I already tucked you in. Go lay down. Nope. I already tucked you in twice. Go lay down. Shut the door. Go to sleep.
I'd like to make a comment about, we decided that we are not going to sacrifice our children.
That sounds so morbid. Old Testament, like Isaac and Abraham.
I don't know.
Where he like walks him up a mountain to sacrifice him for God, and then God's like, "Never mind, psych, don't do it."
Well, that was not where I was headed.
That is immediately where my mind went.
We
know to sacrifice our time with our kids.
We know that we're building a relationship with our children, and we're also building a business, and inherently we cannot give 100% to both of those. And we just got back from dinner with another couple, friends of ours. They own a plumbing company. It's a husband-wife team, and we were talking about how hard it is having children and having a business. Now, they have children who are adults, who are in their early 20s, and they looked at us square and they said, I do not know how you guys are doing it. I sure as hell couldn't have done that, and I applaud you. And first of all, it felt amazing, but like, god damn, I'm tired running a business
all the fucking time
and having these kids, and
our caffeine budget is sick.
Yeah. I mean, we've got our son who's 3 years old, who's in daycare full time, thank goodness. But our daughter Lila, we can't afford to put her in daycare right now, and so she's with me all day, every day.
Not to. We could, but we would have no money left, which is the sacrifice we're not willing to make, right? Wealth versus family.
Yeah.
Right. So, we're choosing wealth versus the leisure, whatever, the nicety right now for the eventual gain.
Yeah. Like, guys, it's exhausting.
It's stressful. It sucks. People think we're crazy.
We probably I think we're crazy.
But I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, I don't want to change it.
I don't know. The way that I look at it is like nobody ever tells stories about the sane person.
Yeah.
About the average person. Unless they did something exceptionally stupid, but then that brings them to the exceptional side of things. Like, it's going to be a better story down the line, right? Like, in 10 years when we've built this awesome thing, or even if we didn't, whatever it ends up being, but in 10 years when we've built something worth telling a story about, like, being able to tell that story of, I did this while raising several young children, because we're going to have more. Again, superhero. But like being able to lean on that side of things and like have a cooler story of like, yeah, I built this business by literally blowing my back out and coming back from next to nothing, losing almost all of our money, like that's what I frame it in, is like, what's going to be a cooler fucking story down the line? Because realistically, that's all we have as humans. Like,
Yeah.
from day one, all we have is stories. That's why we colored shit on caves. So, what ends up being a cooler story? And that's the framework that I go into. Like,
People ask me, like, how are you doing it? And I'm like, because there's not an option to not.
have you seen the meme of like, I don't even know where it's from, but it's like the really skinny, like super nerdy looking guy. I think he played Wreck It Ralph, or not Wreck It Ralph, but like Felix in Wreck It Ralph. I could be wrong, but where he's like, "How do you do it?"
I lie to myself.
I lie to myself every morning, and like that resonates so incredibly hard. Except that I don't want to admit that I do that, so I just ignore that portion. But like genuinely, when we talk about like me herniating my back and like losing almost all of our money and like having our van die and all of that, we're like,
having a baby and showing up
having a
next
baby
week.
and showing up literally 2 days later. And I found out that she apparently made fucking business calls like the morning after she had the kid to cancel the appointments for that day.
Yeah, I had the baby at like 6 a.m. and then
At
I made
5:30, dude.
phone calls at 8 a.m. because
2.5 hours after you had a kid, and you're
needed
like, I gotta reschedule these appointments because clearly we're not making it because this bitch is sleeping on a couch. Like, who the fuck does that? Like, bonkers.
the clients needed to know.
But like, I don't know, and that's the level. Like, we weren't willing to sacrifice customer service while she literally just pushed a human out of her body. We still weren't willing to sacrifice that customer service, so we made sure that they knew. But like, even the day of, and that's a whole nother story, which we're gonna get into. We've got time. Of like, I was swapping a panel.
Oh, can I tell it? Because
you can tell it.
So
you were in that much more than I was.
Yeah, I was the one having the baby.
I was the one still stressed, so I also have a part in this.
Okay. So
Granted,
I went into labor on a Thursday. First of all, the last several weeks and several days of my pregnancy, I continued networking because that was what I did. It wasn't an option to not to. I wasn't going to sit on my ass at home. Now, I do have to say, for anyone who is an entrepreneur and also pregnant, I was prepared to have a decreased capacity in which I could work after having the baby, but I did not account for the fact that I had a decreased capacity before having the baby. So that last about
You're
month.
About 70%. Maybe.
That last about month.
Like 50.
I was only able to produce, I would say, like 65%.
Yeah, but we'll get into crazy person shit.
Okay.
So account for like 30 to 35 if you're gonna work through it, unless you're equally batshit, as the story continues.
So I was networking because that was what I did, and so Thursday morning I had my Thursday morning networking. I stood up and would give my 30-second pitch and sat down, shook hands, business cards, all the whole thing, and I had a one-to-one scheduled for lunch that day. And Gabe needed he was on a job site and he needed some material, so I was dropping off the material.
Different breakers because I'd ordered them wrong.
And I had been feeling like Braxton Hicks contractions for a while, but I had already given up on the idea that my daughter was going to come. We had a C-section scheduled. I was so over it in those last few weeks. So I was having some Braxton Hicks, and I was like, you know what, I'm so tired right now. I have a one-to-one scheduled. You know what, I'm gonna cancel it. So I reached out and said, listen, I'm not feeling well. Let's reschedule it. And I went home and I took a nap, and I woke up from my nap. It was probably around 2:30 in the afternoon, and that's when I lost my mucus plug, which basically means like, get ready, bitch, it's about to happen. And so that's I also, after I woke up from that nap, the contractions were happening in regular intervals. I mean, they're still probably about 10-15 minutes apart, but now we're getting into regular intervals, which means you're in labor. So I called Gabe and I said, hey, buddy, how's it going? Now he's in the middle of a panel swap, which is not an event that you can just stop in the middle of. Cool. And he's like, "Oh, it's great. I got I got the feeders landed, and I just need to like land the breakers and label and whatever. So probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours left." I said, "That's awesome, dude. Well, when you're done, we're gonna go to the hospital because I'm in labor." He was like, "Okay." So he finished up his panel install. He came home, and we had to drive to the hospital. When we got there a little early. They checked me, and they were like, "You're not progressing the way that um, you need to be. So uh, go home, walk, uh, get a burger. Like I don't know, leave here." And so we left, and we ended up going back that night. I remember it was around 9 o'clock. We left our house, 9 p.m. We left our house to go back to the hospital, and then I labored in the hospital and popped the baby out at like 5:30 in the morning.
5:45, yeah.
And then yeah, I made some calls at 8 a.m. And then I didn't work the rest of the day. I thought about checking my emails, and I didn't. But I definitely checked my emails when I got home the next day.
Yeah, literally, like we can say 12 hours off if we don't count you calling people.
They had to know that we couldn't make it to their appointment because we were in the hospital.
Also, I mean, I did the same shit, putting in the panel, like testament to customer service. Outside of like my label maker ran out of ink, so I wasn't able to like do a nice label on the panel. I still swept her entire garage.
Yeah.
And cleaned up, made sure everything was thrown away. Talked to the customer and informed her. Granted, in a more rushed scenario, um, incredibly rushed scenario, and didn't tell her that like, hey, by the way, my wife's having a baby, so I'm gonna leave. I was just like, I gotta get out of here. The panel's all done.
You know what? She called us back for another few $1,000s worth of work.
Yeah, actually, another like 8 to 12. She's awesome. Easily one of my coolest clients. Yeah, like I think a lot of it is we aren't willing to sacrifice customer experience for that, right? And like that's a sacrifice that some companies make, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like we're not willing to sacrifice that. And so a lot of it is just like the bigger shit you want to build, the more you have to be willing to like put on the table of fate.
Yeah.
In a sense of like I'm willing to gamble this thing, and if it works out, then I should get it back. But if it doesn't, I might fucking lose it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And like if you're not willing to lose it, don't bet it. And that's been one of the conversations that we've had of like in a strictly practical business sense, to build the shit that we want to build in the fastest humanly possible, like fastest timeline humanly possible, right? Like no more kids, probably find somebody to take care of the ones we have and go build shit and work 16 hours a day. But we're not willing to do that. No, and we're not willing to do that. And that's my point. Is like it's not just practical business, which means that we have to invest more time during the week of, hey, I'm going to ignore my kids during the week. I'm going to take care of me. But on the weekends, it is all theirs. And I don't do business shit. And I think that there's some balance in there.
Yeah.
In that capacity. But like trying to balance it in the day of like day-to-day basis of like, well, 50% here and 50% there is where you get like lost in that mediocrity, where you stay average and you can't build good shit. And I think that that's where a lot of people get stuck versus telling your kid, hey, look, dude, I know that you're 3, but I know that you understand this. We have to work. And so you have to leave me alone. I've got to do this.
It's actually, I feel really proud of this parenting that we're doing, because we've been teaching our son that working hard is fun. Working hard is great.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That you should work hard. And so, when I don't know if I've told you this, but he loves Bluey. What child doesn't love Bluey? And the theme song is like a little ditty, and they go, Mom. And it's when I'm driving him to school. And he'll point at me, he goes, right there, when they say Mom. and then it says dad, and he goes, working hard.
Yeah.
It is super cute.
Yep.
And
And
so
his favorite thing to do when he can is come help me in the van, clean out the van, organize the van, anything like that. He loves getting to help, and
I
it's
work
not
hard.
something that we just dissuade in any way, shape, or form. Like, he gets to help work hard.
But he also understands when we say, hey, buddy, I need to go work hard today,
Yeah.
and daddy needs to go work hard today. So I need you to go work really hard at daycare.
Yeah.
And then after daycare, we can go whatever.
Yep. And
he
gets it.
He gets
So
it.
for all of you with young kids, they can understand it. It may take a little training, and they're not going to understand like the nuances of a P&L, right? But they'll understand working hard, and you need to train that into them because this is where they learn that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I'm incredibly proud of. But also, we've had days like today where we didn't have a lot on the calendar. Everything was at home, so he asked to stay home from daycare, and we said, sure.
Yeah.
You can stay home from daycare. You can help us work hard today, because like that's what they get to learn from, and you can incorporate both of those, right? Like, it's not about segregation in that capacity. It's like integration. How can I integrate these two very, very important things of my life?
I think that's why people are so surprised to see me bringing Lila to networking events with me.
Yeah.
Because I think that the world sort of teaches us that family and work are separate.
Yeah, that they have to be separate, and that like you never mix those. And I think it's just crazy because, first of all, like the majority of businesses are family owned and operated, so like there's an inherent like work and life and family mix.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you can do that like well and like design it versus just haphazardly do it, like it's gonna work out better. But yeah, so it's just getting back to the point of it and not going on a parenting thing is like everything is up for grabs if you want it to be. And dream as big as you want and go get it. But understand that like there's a cost associated with that, right? And then also don't fall into the fallacy of like I could have had that great big giant thing without also like being willing to pay the price, because I think that that's the other thing is like we all dream in the absolute positive, but we never look at what it costs to get that dream, right? I want to build a $5 billion company, but you don't look at the fact that pretty much every one of the guys who's built a $5 billion company didn't do shit for 2 decades, didn't have friends, didn't like sacrificed everything. They don't really have a great relationship with their family. Like all of this, they sacrificed everything to do that. And now they built this awesome thing, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, how did you do it? That's crazy." But like, they gave up most of their life to do that, and now they're popular and famous, and it's cool.
Which makes me like, I would really challenge, because we're talking to electrical contractors here, or if you're a different kind of business owner, whatever, or just a person, before you decide,
all of you listening,
before you decide you want to start a business, you need to have that hard conversation with yourself. What are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah.
And that's something I'm pretty proud of. We've
had a few employees. Had the dream of starting their own company, because like that's a fairly popular thing right now of like, oh, I'll just go start my own company because I'll just make more money and blah, blah, and like it's just this magical thing that happens, right? And it's not. And we've had several of them see the amount of work that we put in, because as business owners we are super transparent about what it takes to make this happen. Like there's no hiding it. We're not giving them a false sense of security while sitting in our office being like, oh my god, how am I going to make it? Like if we're running dry, we let them know like, hey guys, in a neutral fashion, right? It's not like exceptional highs and lows of like, oh my god, I'm so excited, oh god, life sucks, oh my god. Like you can't be that inconsistent, but like consistently aware of, hey, this problem exists, this is why it exists, we've already diagnosed it. But like letting them know that. And we've had 2 of our employees that had the will to start a business, I think, but like really just the dream of starting a business.
Yeah.
And then they realized the cost of starting that company and were like, you know what?
I don't want to pay that price.
I lied. I'm not willing to take that risk and pay that price. Right? Because like it is a lot. You have to put it all on the table, and there's a very real chance you do not get it back. Right? Like,
and that's what we're trying to
over
do.
80% of businesses fail. I think it's a lot higher than that, but like I think it's pretty close to 90. It's like 85 to 90% of businesses fail within the first year. The majority of them fail anyway. It's just at what point did it fail and how much of a return on investment did you get? And so most people, like, it's such a real risk that you put all of this on the table to hope and pray that you got it back. Like, that's the sacrifice that is made. And most people don't get it back, right? Like, it's worse than a fucking casino, because at least at a casino you only lose your money and maybe like a night in jail because you're a dumbass, but like you only lose your money. In this one the stakes are so much higher.
Yeah.
Where like you lose your reputation as a competent human, you lose your family, you lose your friends, you lose your like there's so many things that you can lose.
And we had
by
this
chasing this
conversation
dream
when we
and chasing
started
that rabbit.
We had this conversation when we started our business. What are we willing to sacrifice? And we said, we'll sell our house. We'll go live with one of our parents.
Yeah, and if that doesn't work, we'll live in the van.
We'll sell one of the cars.
Yeah.
We
actually had a hit list of like if shit hits the fan.
Okay, we'll sell the TV next, and then we'll
TV,
sell
our bed, tools that I don't need, like any spare tools that I have.
Yeah.
At the time, we had a really nice, big, like executive style desk that like is super gaudy and not useful.
Yeah, like, we had a list of all the things that we were going to sell.
In what order we were going to sell it, what price point we could probably get for it, like the works. And luckily, it didn't come to us selling that.
We did sell off some of the smaller things.
Yeah, we sold the car. We sold off some of the smaller things as things started getting really tight.
Yeah.
But we never had to like get rid of.
We didn't get to the TV or the bed
TV,
or
the couch or the bed or like greatly depleting lifestyle, but we were absolutely willing to do that, where we were like, we will go live in a 1-bedroom apartment with our son and we will all share the same room and it is going to suck.
Yeah.
But if it comes to that, it comes to that, and like we're going to make this successful.
Yeah.
Like there's not another option.
And that's why we're so transparent, you know, like you had said with our employees, but like here on this podcast, like, guys, it is my bedtime and I would like to be asleep right now. But I think it's really important for us to share this level of vulnerability and for you to see this exhaustion and see the effort that is put in and the passion behind it, so that in 10 years when we do have our dream and we're going to build a castle, I'll tell you all about it, but we've got, you know,
that'll be a later episode of like, I think that's the next one, is like how to dream big.
Why?
I think that's a really nice follow-up compared to this one.
Yeah.
So that's the next one, how to dream big. You can write it down somewhere.
All right.
Because we know you're not going to remember.
No, because it's my bedtime. But you have any wrap up for the friends? Are you writing on the table? Oh, that bugs my brain. Okay.
It'll wrap up or it won't. We'll see. Yeah, wrap up. Understand that if you have started your business, the risk you've taken is massive. It is stupidly big, and it's more than anybody else is willing to do.
And it's also going back to what we said previously, life is a game. If you are however long into the business journey and you realize, I don't want that risk, it is okay to choose a different path.
Yeah, it's okay to shut it down. And the only time you lose is by quitting, right? So like if you do have dreams of like grandeur and bigger shit and like all of that, and you've already risked all of this, like first of all, I think that like it's okay to shut it down if you really want to, but before you do that, I'd look at selling, because at least you get some payout. Even if you sell like a 1-to-1 ratio and you get like $80,000 for the business, right? At least you get some big payout for it. Yeah. Which would be my recommendation. Don't just close the fucking doors. That's dumb. Do some due diligence. Wait a year. In the grand scheme of things, not massive, but at least you get something for all that time and effort. But if you have taken that risk, like understand the the value of that, and price yourself accordingly, right? Like they don't get that for free or next to free, right? It's not just the cost of the material plus your labor, right? Like you put a lot of time and effort into getting to the point where you could start this, and then you took the risk.
So,
and like you're risking so much. Like I said before, you're risking face value of your friends and family of looking at you like a failure. Because realistically, if you shut down the doors, nobody says, man, they did great and then it didn't work. They say, man, they failed. That's it. It's not they fought as hard as they could. They failed. That is the vision behind it. You are either successful or you failed. No happy medium. No, oh, you fought the good fight and then it sucked. You're going to be marked as a failure, and every venture that you start after that is going to be deemed a failing proposition until it's not.
you know you're supposed to be rapping.
Yes, I understand. This is going to be a longer wrap up. So understand the risk that you're taking and like give the value appropriately. Also, don't listen to the fucking haters. Right? You're going to start, and everybody in your life, say for probably like 2 people, is going to call you batshit crazy, is going to tell you it's not going to work. They're not going to believe in you, even if they say it to your face. You are going to be able to sense that on the backside.
Most people in our world said, well, I really hope it works out for you.
Yeah, and that's not
not support.
It's not support. It's not necessarily like a detraction where they're like, hey, by the way, that's not going to fucking work, which you're going to have some of those too. But like, if they're not actively cheerleading, where they're like, you got this, let me send you leads, you're fucking awesome, you're going to do it, right? I want to see you be successful. If they are not that person, cut them the fuck out of your life, even if it's temporarily, right? Do not participate with those people because they're going to drag you down and they're going to keep you in the same arena that you're in. You cannot make it in any way, shape, or form with that level of negativity in your life at all. If there is any hint of that, cut them the fuck out. They do not deserve to be there when you win. Don't give up, but do not let them in that circle when you win. Fuck them. Genuinely and completely. And like, thirdly, you're gonna win as long as you don't fucking quit. Right? Now, again, if you decide to close the doors because you have hit what you have deemed your level of success, right? That metric changes for everybody. Whatever the fuck you deem it as, great. When you hit that, do what you want. Shut down your doors, sell the business, donate it to charity, whatever you want. That is yours to decide, but have a plan for that. Before you open your doors, know where the fuck you're going. Know what that goalpost is, because it is going to get really hard to continue on that path. Like, incredibly hard to continue on that path. And so know where you're trying to build it. It is not just about making money. I promise you, probably for the first 3 to 5 years, you could make more money just selling shit for somebody else.
Yeah.
It is going to be so much less stress, and you get to shut it off. You do not get to do that when you start your own company. So if you are not prepared to donate your entire life to this with next to no return, if you get any return for several years, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you are not ready to basically be choke slammed and have your nuts kicked in on a regular basis while you figure this shit out, don't fucking start, because it is only going to get worse, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any level of better. Yeah. Like, we are just now almost 2 years in, starting to feel that, like, I can kind of see where this doesn't suck completely, because I've built the armor and I've built like the endurance to handle being strangled. Not that it's any less of a chokehold, we're just used to it.
Yeah.
And so it is going to take you a little while to get used to that and understand that. And if you're not willing to sacrifice everything for that, and I mean like shut down your entire fucking life for a year, don't start. If you're not willing to sacrifice your lifestyle for a year or more, don't start. It is only going to suck. Now, if you do have that inkling and you really think you can make it, it is
fucking
worth it.
Do it.
Send it.
It's so great.
And don't second guess it. And again, refer to point number 2. Anybody is detracting from it. Anybody is telling you you can't do it. Anybody is telling you you're crazy outside of shit like what Jessie pulled, where that is probably clinically insane. And they mean that in like, because I'm like, she is crazy. I am too. Like, I worked on a herniated disc and couldn't feel my left leg for 6 fucking months, right? Like, the shit we're doing is not rational. but neither is entrepreneurship. It is fucking stupid. So like if they are detracting from that and calling you dumb and not actually supporting you, not saying you got this, if they're questioning you outside of like, hey dude, like, are you sure that that's the route you want to go? Like I absolutely want you to get where you should go, but I think that there's a